Hey everyone, welcome back to welcome back to the High Five a Day podcast. We're going to be getting into that rebranding. Actually, so funny mistake. It's always fun doing these episodes where I'm recording myself. It always takes me a little bit to psych myself up. I always feel a little bit funny when I'm the only person in the room talking. So hopefully this doesn't get too weird, too awkward, and hopefully there's some actual value that I can share with you guys. So I have kind of the points I want to go over today and talk about and share. And yeah, so I guess first things first, we'll just jump into it. I've obviously rebranded the podcast, as you guys have noticed within the last couple of episodes. If you've been paying attention, it is now the High Five a Day podcast. And I'll kind of dive into what that means a little bit more. And I think I talked about it in the beginning episodes of the show. What's really kind of driven it all actually is as I've been applying to law school and going through and working on my personal statement, which if you've ever written a personal statement for higher education, for graduate schooling, or really whatever, it's a mental and emotional battle, especially when you've never written anything like that before, to go through and put something together that you feel comfortable with as describing yourself, that aligns with the values that you want to portray, while also at the same time being applicable to the thing that you're trying to do. And I struggled with that for a long time, for a while, because as I elected to go into the field of law at first, more than anything, it was because I knew it was a career field where you tend to make more money than maybe in other positions. And, since then I've gone down a lot of entrepreneurial routes and tried to start a lot of things, and I'm doing this and, been working some other jobs and whatnot. So, I struggled with the questions is that actually something that I want to do and pursue? And I've come back to the point that yes, I do. And so I'm pushing forward with that. And I feel like it does align with, my entrepreneurial spirit and the things that I want to do there. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But coming back to rebranding to the High Five a Day podcast, in pursuit of writing that personal statement, it came down to one distinct statement that everything kind of centered around. And that was, what is it that I really want to do? And I want to help people that cannot help themselves. That's my purpose for trying to do anything that I do. And so as I was thinking about that and the personal brand that I was developing, and while I do still enjoy learning and sharing and teaching others about how they can build a business and how they can make that operationally better and how they can drive their success through their marketing and things like that, I was starting to feel a little hypocritical internally because I hadn't fully built something out myself yet that I could be hey, I've done this. Whether or not I knew my stuff and could actually help people was one thing, but I wanted to show people that I could build something too. And so, not to say I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm more focusing on, building something out for myself. And I want to get this podcast big and out there and actually helping people that cannot help themselves in certain ways. And that's what this is really all about. And so the High Five a Day idea, theme, brand, it's actually something I tried to start 2 years ago when I got to college. I was going to start a whole platform around it and about it. And this was kind of before I learned about personal branding. So now I'm building that movement just around myself. But it's actually something that sat on my mind for a long time while I was serving as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I can go back through somewhere in my notes. I have it written down, High Five a Day, that I came up with it. And what it really stemmed from was, as a missionary for my church, a great deal of what we did every day was just go out and talk to as many people as we could, with the goal being to tell them more about the message about Jesus Christ that we shared. Some people didn't know anything about him, other people did. So, it kind of varied there where we went, but that was our goal, talk to people about Jesus Christ and how he makes our lives better. And I just started to fall in love with being able to listen to people's stories and the details about their lives and to make them feel heard and important. And I noticed that more than anything else, that was helpful to them when they felt valued and they felt heard. And they started to present, different struggles that they were going through. which I was not qualified to help them. And so in all these different ways and all these different things, I could only go so far as to what I was doing. I wasn't a mental health professional or anything like that, and nor do I claim to be now. And so it just kind of sat on my mind. How could I inspire people to help others that are struggling in whatever way that they are, through small intentional efforts? I just started to think about, like the impact of, getting a small greeting from somebody, whether that was shaking someone's hand on the street or giving them a high five or a fist bump, because that was big during COVID. And so I decided I was going to take that to college and start that up at college. And I did for a little bit. I think it lasted about a week or two, that I was consistently trying to high five 5 people a day while I was at college. But I got really dissuaded from that because I would get a lot of adverse reactions, and people would look at me like, are you crazy? Like, why are you saying hi to me? I don't know who you are, which was new to me, believe it or not, because I just lived in Central America for a year where saying hi to everybody was normal and a positive thing, and like everybody all just said hi to whoever as you walked past them on the street. And so I was trying to carry that energy into what I was doing at school. And it was fun. It was great. And I wish I would have kept doing it. And so now is my renewed resolve to do that. And the one unfortunate thing now is that I work and do school from home at my apartment here in Boise. And so I don't get out a whole lot to see a lot of people, or I'm not in an environment where that's super easy to do. So I'm trying to figure out ways that I can be more inspiring around that concept. But really the whole idea is that small intentional acts can produce big monumental effects in other people's lives. And I've shared the story a lot on other episodes about how I saw that in high school. And, what seemed to be thoughtless, unimportant acts to you means so much and change the world for other people. And so that's what I want to inspire with the High Five a Day podcast, is bringing people on here, sharing things myself, that as people listen and they hear and they share it with other people, they hear these stories, they hear these experiences, they hear these thoughts, they hear these ideas that hit them in such a way that they're like, hey, someone cares about me, other people are thinking about me, I'm important, I am loved, or they went through this hard thing and this is how they did it, so I can try that too. And just an outlet where people can find positivity. And, I know there's 1,000,001 podcasts and speakers about that do similar things. And so I realize it's going to be hard to establish myself in that way, but I know I can do it. And I know that with your guys' help, to be kind and share love with others, that we can grow this as a place that people can find that same inspiration. So that's kind of where we're at on the rebranding. And as to the aspect of creating social media content and sharing that, I'm going to start doing just a lot more of these personal podcast clips and sharing those and kind of ideating out that content more. It's been a little bit difficult to shift that over. What are the small clips and the informational things I can create content for on Instagram, for example, like I was before, for business related content. And so I'm just kind of figuring those things out. Just to point, it's difficult to make that kind of a shift while you're in the middle of finishing up your last semester of college and working a full-time job, full-time remote job that doesn't really have set hours, so you could call it part-time if you want. So it's been a little bit difficult to take time to really sit down when my thoughts are, organized and on stream, to plan out all my content and say hey, here's the strategy, here's what we're going for. So I'm just kind of doing a lot of feeling that out right now so that I can really give the maximum amount of value to the people that come and find me on social media and places, and find inspiration through that. And I just want to be, and that was the other thing that wasn't sitting super right with me, is I felt like I couldn't give enough value yet as to business content, because I just want to give so much help for free that, you feel like your time is well spent. So that's where we're at on the rebranding side of things. And yeah. And so at the same time, I'm getting to as I'm finishing up school, I'm working. It's actually my uncle's company. I've been doing this for about 3 months now, and I'm working as kind of a business manager, personal asset manager, and so I get to help scale a couple new companies that they're building, and I'm working with their marketing team, with their operations team, kind of an assistant operations consultant, marketing consultant type role. It's a really small team, so everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything. It's really fun. It's really fast paced and big, and we have some exciting things ahead of us as we grow these. So it's just an amazing opportunity that I'm super grateful for to have, and getting the experience in the things that I want to be doing and learning. So I am super grateful for it, excited to continue to grow in that and share those experiences with you as they come. And yeah, and just kind of the next topic I wanted to dive into today, as this is the High Five a Day podcast, and we're looking to share inspiration and create connection through love and kindness amongst people, and see those ripple effects. Obviously it's election season. Last night, the votes were counted. The preliminary results have been put out. Obviously nothing's 100% official yet, but I was just, you look at the media and the things that are being shared and said, and there's two sides that are being shown. There is a lot of disconnect in a lot of ways. At the same time, there's also a lot of connection that's being created. And so I just want to touch more on the point of how can we create even more connection and drive out even more of the disconnection. And it really became evident to me in the last couple of days, as I've had some people close to me that, they had differing political views, and maybe that wasn't known to one another until the time of the election and voting. And so that kind of raised some flags for individuals and some controversy, and there were some hard conversations that all of a sudden needed to be had. And so it's a great opportunity, more than anything else, to take time to have hard conversations that create connection, to learn how to listen better to one another, to learn how to understand one another better, and to learn how to be patient until we understand another person's views. Because at the root of it, I don't think any of us are, trying to be malignant towards other people in our views and our desires and our goals. But a lot of times we take people doing something different than us as that. So I think it takes a little bit of internal reflection to see, I don't have those purposes for the things that I decide and the goals that I push towards. And so I'm going to give other people the benefit of the doubt that their objective is similar to mine, whether or not we take different routes to get there. And that's been an experience for me in the past year and a couple months of marriage that I've had to learn and go through, because sometimes just out of the blue it'll come up something that my wife and I disagree about. And I personally do not like to be contentious in a way that hurts other people's feelings, in a way that causes pain and disconnect, and especially with my wife. And I don't like confrontation in that way. Though I do like to discuss things and argue when it's less consequential. But in a relationship, it becomes very evident that you have to find a way to cooperate if you have different expectations on things. And so I think that's kind of a great metaphor almost for how we need to address our issues within society. Because whether or not we agree on some things, what we can agree upon is that we want the best for mankind. We want the best for the people that we love and the people that we care about and the people that are close to us, and probably by default by everyone around us. We want to see other people happy just like we want to be happy. So how can we notice if we are focusing on driving disconnect, or how can we notice if we're focusing on driving connection? How do we point that out? And I've been listening to the book The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins, which sidetrack here. I had never heard of her or this book or her high five, like the High Five Habit challenge, until after I came up with the idea for the High Five a Day, So if it ever comes out that there's some kind of copyright issue there, That would be unfortunate, but or trademark issue. Really, just more than anything, it kind of reinforced what I was trying to do and wanting to do. And one of the things she talks about in this book is the RAS, which is a part of your brain. And I'm going to butcher the second part, but I think it's like the reticular activation system. Let me Google it really fast. And I'll tell you as I go, what is the RAS in the brain? It is reticular activating system. Sorry. So the reticular activating system is a network of neurons in the brainstem that regulates your sleep-wake cycles, arousal, and attention. So that's kind of where she was focusing on, is the attention focus aspect of it. Because what it does is it controls what your brain takes in as important information that it needs to focus on, that you've indicated to it through your different actions and decisions that is important. And I made a post about this last night I think it was, and talking about, one of the examples that she gives in the book and that you've probably noticed within yourself, like if you're wanting to buy a car and you have a really specific one, and I think she says like a red Honda, or red Acura or something, this is like really specific. And it's like you've never noticed those on the road before, but then all of a sudden you just start seeing them everywhere. And let me tell you, like this happened to me in the past year. My older brother bought a Subaru Crosstrek. And I didn't even know what a Subaru Crosstrek was until he had one. But literally, like the week after he bought it, I still to this day, like I see every single Subaru Crosstrek on the road in parking lots. Wherever I go, I notice them. Because for whatever reason, I've indicated to my brain that it's important. And so it draws those out. And how this applies to, what I'm trying to push and share and get people to do is focusing on finding people that need those small acts of kindness every day, that need someone to reach out to them and say, hey, like, I noticed you. I think you're important. And a person that I follow and I love what they're doing, their name is Jimmy Darts, and this is something that he does. Obviously, he gets to do it like at a much larger scale, but he'll go around and he just kind of drives around until he notices somebody, or he'll go into like stores and he'll just like find these people and he'll talk to them, have a conversation, and then he just like gives them $1,000, and he's got a really big platform, and he'll build like GoFundMe profiles for him, and he'll get his followers to donate like $20,000 to people that are in need and like need help. But he has somehow programmed his RAS to notice these people. He's phenomenal at finding people that are in these situations that you would never know. Like they're never going to tell anybody that. Like, and if you have no idea who they are, like how would you know? But somehow he's found a way to focus in and he notices these people. And I've learned and noticed that if it's something that you're focusing on, like, hey, how can I, find people that are needing a little bit of extra help? You'll start to notice subtle cues because your brain knows how you are in those situations, and you'll start to see those in other people. You'll start to notice things that they're saying. You'll start to notice what they're posting on social media. Even if, they're someone that you normally don't pay attention to, you'll just start to see those cues amongst people. It's really a sign for you to take action, to go out and be a light, be an inspiration, and be kind to people, and to change their lives. I love the app Threads right now, which is Instagram, Facebook's version of X, or Twitter. And because I feel like it's basically an algorithm. It's a digital algorithm for your RAS. And as you input things into it, it recognizes those. And it's super good and quick at prioritizing those things. And you start to be connected to other people and start to see other people that are, thinking about those same things. And so it gives you the opportunity to connect with those kinds of people. And I kind of geared it a little bit and a couple times towards, like, hey, like I want to connect with people that need some help and support. And I've been able to do, just that in a couple different ways. And it's been super awesome and a fulfilling experience. And so you really, at the end of the day, what I want to create and drive is a platform for people where they are inspired to go out and do small intentional acts of service and kindness, and then invite other people to do the same. Because if we all go out, if everyone in the world goes out and does small acts of kindness, small acts of service, by default, as a direct result, an unavoidable result, if you will, those will turn into you receiving the same kind of treatment. People will be coming to you with acts of service. People will be coming to you with acts of kindness. And that's what I want to create and inspire others to be doing on a consistent and constant basis. If you do one of those a day, that's just more than enough, and it's phenomenal. And you're going to notice it. And another reason being to that, I guess that I haven't that I want to dive into, is that one of the best things you can do when you're struggling, when you're having a hard time, and I know this is the best thing for me, is you go out and you help other people. And you kind of you have to forget about yourself, or you go out and you do something where you have to lose focus on you internally. So for me, a lot of times that's some kind of athletic event, like going and playing basketball or running or working out some way. But more the best way for me is if I go out and I get to help people and I get to work with people and I get to share something with them. And when I see them feel loved, feel kindness, just feel blessed in one way, that blesses me, that automatically I feel better. Whatever I was struggling with, whatever was difficult for me, just gets so much better, so much more positive. And it's just great. It's just great. So that's kind of where we're at with the podcast, where we're going. I want to be doing more of these episodes, just me talking to you guys and sharing. Hopefully I can get it more interactive. Maybe I'll get a whiteboard thing going and sharing some other concepts with you guys. But this has been exciting, and I just want to help people. I just want to help people that can't help themselves, and I hope you guys can support that, be inspired to do the same. Even if I can't grow a big platform on that, but can inspire people to go out and do that, that'll be more than enough for me. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.